And this is where corporates will sulk and everybody else will be happy. The catch is that they are account-wide video filters, so it's not personal. So my short answer is don't use virtual backgrounds. But if you do have to use them, or you're in a corporate setting and you want to use them, make your background, physical background, really simple and obvious. There are timers in the options button, which is in the bottom left of when you're building the breakout room. And you can set a timer so the room will close after a certain amount of time. And I would suggest you set it for about the minute mark.
This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast.
The podcast for curious marketers who zig when others zag.
This episode, we are diving deep into Zoom. With the aptly named Lord Zoom, we'll learn tips and tricks to get the best out of this platform for you and your audience.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, Erica, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. How's your weather today?
Sunny. Surprising.
Here as well. It's not often that our weather is in sync, right?
Lines up, yeah.
I'm so excited that today I've invited John Drinkwater to our podcast. Welcome, John.
Thank
John.
you very much.
So Alex, John and I met through Toastmasters, and he is known in our circles as Lord Zoom.
Oh, what
And
a time.
I know, right? Isn't that awesome? And I've actually worked with John, and he is a Zoom master of note, so that's fantastic. So I thought, you know what? We use Zoom, our audience uses Zoom, so why not talk to the Zoom expert? So welcome, John.
It is a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, how did you get into becoming Lord Zoom? How did that happen?
You don't know?
No,
That's a shame because it's your fault.
my fault.
It is. You are a Toastmaster. It is your fault.
Ah,
I was caring for my parents and I technically retired, but just to warn anyone, elderly people get a bit Alzheimer's and slow. It's like they're going down in years, becoming younger and younger children in what they're able to do. And frankly, I was going absolutely bonkers. I was suffering from cabin fever and I needed to go somewhere to get my sanity back. And I ended up in Toastmasters. In fact, I ended up in 2 or 3 clubs most of the time in Toastmasters. So
Oh,
I would
wow.
spend a evening of 2 hours roundabout most times. And we would just practice public speaking, which gave me a group of people, the most diverse group of people I've ever met in an association, club or business ever. And we just practiced public speaking, which meant I could get away from all that stress of looking after mum and dad and chill out. In fact, I even invited my father once to one of the meetings.
Oh,
And
wow.
sorry, I might tear up sometimes because it's quite emotional, because he just sat in the corner with this big beaming smile on his face, loving every second and proud of his son.
Oh.
And so when did Zoom come into the play?
Have you heard of something called COVID?
Yes.
No.
So when COVID came, that was an absolute disaster to me, because I had a phone call from my president, my club president, to say, John, we can't meet anymore in Toastmasters. And I thought, oh my God, what did I do? Did I say something wrong? What faux pas have I done? She said, no, it's not your fault. But Toastmasters is not allowed to meet anymore because COVID says we shouldn't meet, and Toastmasters International, with 350,000 members, is petrified of being sued for passing on the virus to everybody. So that's it. No more meetings. And then she threw me the lifeline that there was a couple of clubs that used a product called Zoom. That's it, Zoom. And as I was the most technical person in our club, she gave me the tasks to go and find out what Zoom was and to work out if we could use it for club meetings. And the good news is we could. So that's how I got into Zoom. But that's not how I got to be Lord Zoom.
Mm.
I had a second telephone call, and that was a friend of mine called Guler. Now, Guler had organised our district conference, which was due in 6 weeks, just under 6 weeks' time. And it was to be held in this fantastic hotel in London. I can't tell you the name of the hotel because we now couldn't hold that either.
Mm.
So my next task was to work out how we could turn an entire district conference with speakers, competitions, and all the other things that happens when you have your annual jamboree of your district getting together to speak and learn together. I now had to make work in Zoom as well. And it was on the second day of that 3-day conference that the chat in the main room where we were holding all the conferences started talking about this guy called Lord Zoom. And I thought, wow, there's a guy called Lord Zoom. I better have a look and see who it is, because maybe they can help me, because I'm, up to my eyes in tech here, trying to keep a 3-day event going on my own. COVID, I have to do it on my own. I wonder who this Lord Zoom guy is. And it took about, I'm not always the sharpest pencil in the case. It did take me about 20 minutes to realize they were calling me Lord Zoom. So I thought, you got to take the offers when you get them, haven't you? So I've referred to myself as Lord Zoom ever since. And I'm pleased to tell you that even people in Zoom itself, praise be to that organization, also refer to me as Lord Zoom.
Look at that.
That is my, well, I suppose as marketing people concerned, you would say that is my origin story.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, to have, I guess, the royalty of the technology are the people who work at Zoom, right? And if they've adorned you with the title Lord Zoom as well, I mean, I would actually be expecting an invitation from them to you at their head office to knight you Lord Zoom.
Because we
Why is
can
that
meet in
not
person
happening?
now. It'd have to be on Zoom, Alex. Can't be in
That's true.
person.
That's true. They need to send a representative. So I think I'm going to petition for that. I'd like an official knighting of Lord Zoom.
Well, that's very kind of you to say that, Alex. I personally, the fact that I'm called Lord Zoom and they are Zoom Inc., the enormous company, the fact that I'm allowed to do that as long as I make it very clear. Obviously, I'm not a Zoom employee. I'm not sponsored by Zoom. Actually, I'm a little bit, but I'm not directly sponsored and paid by Zoom. I'm not under any NDA, and I try to avoid that. So I know things, but I'm not under any NDA that I can't, that there are things I'm not allowed to talk about. To have that relationship with Zoom is it's a trade-off. But I went away, looking after my parents. I effectively disappeared from the world, looking after my parents. And that was the whole thing from when I made the decision to go and join them and when I actually left them and started building my life back again was pretty much a decade. And the world had changed so much in 10 years. When I first started and as a Toastmaster with my club, they made me VP PR because I'd done a lot of internet marketing. And I had this platform called Facebook. Yeah, that's all I had. That's the only social media I worked on, Facebook. Look at the world now. Completely changed. But I find that the ethos and the philosophy of Toastmasters, not wishing to, but you should go to a meeting. You can go to a meeting for free. Just go to a meeting. And if you find that group of people aren't your group, then try another club, because all the clubs are different. But the ethos of Toastmasters is a really good thing if you're in marketing, because if you want to promote Toastmasters, it's a volunteer organization. There's no budget.
Yeah.
And your time is precious. And by the way, we love the rule of 3 in Toastmasters, in case you didn't know. So,
I actually went to a Toastmasters event. I tried to, here in Medellin, in Colombia.
You did?
I did. I got invited to it. And I went, and the day I went, it got cancelled.
Oh,
Yeah. And then I
Oh,
moved, and now I live in a different city.
There are online clubs that have continued being online. I belong to a club that's online because it's just more convenient for me. When I was in
Mm.
London, I was lucky because I think I had 7 clubs that were within half an hour's drive.
oh,
So
wow.
I had a choice. In fact, that's why I was a member of 2 or 3, because they were all literally down the road, just different directions. So I was, but where I am now, I'm in the middle of the countryside, and there are 3 clubs near me, but they're all about an hour's drive. So that's a big difference. Half an hour to an hour is a big difference when you've got to think it's an hour there and an hour back, and it's only a 2 hour meeting. But there are online clubs as well. There's quite a few online clubs, and other speaking organizations are available. But when I joined Toastmasters, there were 350,000 members. I'm not sure about this figure, so please don't quote me. Well, you can quote me. I understand there's 500,000 members, but I don't know if that's 500,000 registrations, so people that member of 2 clubs count twice,
Mm.
or whether it's literally 500,000 people. But it's certainly hundreds of thousands. It's the biggest speaking organization.
So tell us, what is this new feature? I don't know about it.
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to ask.
Oh,
Well, there's a small problem. Okay,
okay.
I better explain that Zoom has a problem, right? Zoom has one problem. Now, it's not all the undermining comments from the competitors that tried to do it. No, Zoom has a problem. It's called words. Zoom is an enormous organization. I don't have many people follow me, but I have senior people, departmental heads, product managers, etc., that follow me and even call me Lord Zoom when I'm lucky. And they are all working really hard in their little silos, but they don't tend to know what the other people are up to because they're focused in on their little business unit.
Mm.
They don't have a department of names in Zoom. So Zoom has a really bad habit of coming out with 2 different ideas, products, concepts, procedures, and then giving them the same name.
Okay.
So today,
Wow.
they are talking about Zoom Hubs, which is their new way. And this is almost spooky, because the menu item will have appeared on your Zoom Workplace app yesterday or today, as they've upgraded their servers. And you'll see there's a little button across the top called Hub. And when you click on that, that takes you to a place where all the files that you may use in your Zoom experience, all these documents that you can now install, will live there, which is wonderful. Great idea. Fantastic. Just a little point, though. Haven't we got something in the Zoom events place where you put all your files called Hub? Yes, we do. So there are now 2 types of Zoom Hubs in Zoom. And methinks some people may get confused.
So, John, what is your favorite feature on Zoom? What is the one you love the most?
That's a brilliant question. By the way, that's a brilliant question is one of those Toastmaster tricks we use when we've got to think about the answer. It's always, but don't use it every single time. So I'm going to have to think of a different excuse for every question you ask me. If you had asked me what my favorite had been, I would probably a week ago have said, do you know how annoying it is when people don't come off mute and you say, unmute yourself and they can't find the button, and you get all that paraphernalia of people being on mute and off mute. There's a feature in Zoom meetings, and it's been there forever. There's a little button in the extra settings, if you have a look down, which allows you to get permission to unmute people in your meeting. When they come into the meeting, they are asked got to get it right round. They are asked if you can have permission to unmute them during the meeting. And they usually just don't realize what it is. So they just say, that seems reasonable. And they say yes. And therefore, for the rest of that meeting, and whenever else they come onto one of your Zoom meetings, you have the ability to unmute them yourself. You don't request unmute, you just unmute them, and off you go in the conversation. And for meetings when you are hopefully organized and people are putting up their hands or whatever, and you're passing the baton around so people can add their contribution to whatever your conversation is. For one person to be in charge of who speaks and just goes around muting and unmuting everybody around the group is a brilliant feature. But so many people don't know it's there. And that would have been my answer until this week, when I spent about an hour and a half trying to work out, and I still know there are more features, trying to work out all the different ways in Zoom that you can now share screens.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a video, which I think is about 45 minutes. And I was doing it live and I was just going to release it. But actually it got so involved that I'm now sitting down and editing. Well, by the time this has gone out, it will be on my YouTube channel, but I need to edit it because it did get complicated, because it did get, well, it got involved. I always overdo things. You might realize in the answer I've given so far, I always overdo things. So I had three computers. The three computers are over there. And one of them was my admin in charge of the meeting.
Okay.
One of them was an attendee. And the other one was a computer watching YouTube. So what I could do is I could show you how you could use the different ways of sharing the screen. And then I would flip the screen to the attendee so you could see what the attendee saw. And then, because, did I tell you that Zoom tends to work in silos and don't always talk to each other? Yeah, I think I did.
Yes.
Good. So the third one was what you see in Zoom on YouTube, because what you see in the Zoom meeting is not ways transferred into what you see on Zoom on YouTube.
Correct.
Some of the ways you can screen share yourself with the background as the slides, but that doesn't look the same on YouTube. So I had to do these three things. And when I got to the end of the video, I thought, well, it makes sense to me, but I think I need to edit it in a bit to make a bit more organization so people can realize, what they're looking at when I keep flipping screens from one thing to another. But yeah, so that's my feature now. My feature was, and I still think people need to get the unmute working. I've even had really, really top marketers who tell you they can do 8 and 9 figures and they're made of money and whatever, and they can't even do the unmute thing properly, which really annoys me. It does annoy me. If they're supposed to be making that much money, why haven't they found somebody who's the reasonable intelligence and knowledge of Zoom that, but it's now been surpassed. I will still keep reminding people about that feature, but the feature that I really love now is the different ways you can screen share.
Awesome. I have to admit, I am on Zoom a lot and I wasn't aware of that audio button. So I need to go and look that up, because it also annoys me when you have we used to play bingo with it, right? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Zoom etiquette is not very good, frankly. I have been asked to do a video on that one. I probably will.
Well, I can't wait to watch your screen share video, and we will definitely share that with everyone as well, because I think that'll also be a good one. Alex, what is it you want to know about Zoom?
I didn't actually realize that there are many features as there really are.
The one you also like is when Zoom surprises you with when you put your thumb up and then things fly all over, right? That one gets you excited.
Which computer do you have, Alex? Do you have a Mac?
I have a Mac, but it's
Okay.
not working right now.
Well, the Mac.
Why is it not
The
working?
Mac has extra features.
Oh, there, it's working for
That's a
Lord Zoom.
Mac. That's not a PC. That's not on a PC. That's not on Zoom. That's a Mac feature.
Oh, not a Zoom feature. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you have your system set up the right way or the wrong way, depending how you look at it, the signal goes from the camera into the Mac. There are Mac features which can add little graphics and things, and then it goes into Zoom. So you can end up with multiple reactions and things.
For some reason, my reactions aren't working now.
You must have.
You do need to enable them. So you need to click on
They
your
normally
little
do. They
picture
normally do.
icon for your camera, and then you can turn them on and off.
You must have pushed the button, Alex. Something
I
didn't
probably
work.
did.
Yeah,
No,
or your thumb's too small today. You need to suck it a bit more, and that's it. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing what silly things people will do when you tell them there's a Zoom feature. You need to go.
Well,
yeah.
the other one that people play a lot with is the ones where you can put moustaches on or hats or something, and then everyone spends 10 minutes in your meeting going, "Oh yeah, look, I've got a moustache. I'm gonna like, okay."
Save so much money. Instead of coloring my beard, I can just put the beard option on. It makes my beard darker. And I do know young ladies that have used it to make the lipstick look better. They put the lipstick one on.
So I have a question for you, John, about Zoom features. I don't have the answer, so and maybe it doesn't exist. And so I'm going to ask the Lord of Zoom. If I am sharing my screen and I'm presenting to a client and I only want them to see, I've only got one computer and I've got one screen and I'm presenting my PowerPoint presentation to them, but I also want to browse the internet at the same time. So you have the feature in Macs where you can put your panels side by side. Is there any way of presenting the PowerPoint on one side whilst you have other information, for example, on the right-hand side?
Of course there is.
Oh.
But you may find it doesn't work as you expect, and it's got nothing to do with Zoom. PowerPoint expects to take over your computer.
That is so arrogant of them.
Well, we're talking about Microsoft here, so I can't make any comments about Microsoft being good or bad or whatever, but PowerPoint expects to take over your computer. And you probably noticed that if you're not active on PowerPoint and you do the little right and left buttons presses, it tends not to work.
Yep.
That's the way PowerPoint has been set up to work.
So
But you can sort of, because Zoom allows you to select a window rather than the whole screen. So you can select the window of the
it
PowerPoint,
does.
and then you can have two slides side by side, or you can even overlap them. So it is possible.
it would be better if I had the presentation in a PDF, for example.
Well, why not? Is it? It's not an animated. It's just a simple standard PDF.
No, if it's just a simple standard PDF.
Okay. So in that video I did, which will be out by the time this comes out, you can go into these sections. I mean, everybody can do it without breaking anything. You can just click your button, click on share, and in the advanced section, there's a set PowerPoint slides as background, and there's a PowerPoint slide feature inside Zoom, and Zoom will ingest the PowerPoint slides and turn them into just static graphics. So you can just click through them that way. And you may find that's easier for you to then move around the screen and use another part of the screen to see something else. But the part about screen share, which is like the killer feature, which makes it similar to the issue we had with the microphones, is you can pause. So when you're screen sharing, if you've got to put a URL in, or you've got to put a password in, and you've got to go to a page and then go to another page, you don't really want people to see that bit. You don't have to stop sharing and resharing. You can hit the pause button. It does a freeze frame on what you have up on the screen. And then you can carry on finding it a little bit and go to your web page. Whereas the people watching it will see the frozen frame until you stop the pause and you resume, and then they'll see what you can see now.
That's
I didn't know
cool.
that. That is awesome.
And you can
no
also
idea
remote
that
control
existed.
as well.
It feels
just-
like both of us want to go and start playing with the buttons on Zoom now.
This is going to sound very geeky, and it is, but I actually hang out with a group of friends. I mean, I've got to call them friends because I hang out with a group of friends every week, and we just pick holes in Zoom. That's all we do.
That's why you're Lord Zoom.
We spend 2 hours. I think the record's about 4.5. We got really carried away. which is bad for me because it starts in the evening. And by the time we finished, it was early hours for me. And we just look at the latest things that Zoom has done. And Zoom's an enormous organization. The guys are just not satisfied with what Zoom does today. They're constantly trying to find new ways to make it better, to make things happen, to make things more interactive, more interesting. And then they have to put a business case together. And that business case goes to the engineering team. And the engineering team work out how complicated it would be to do and whether it was worth the effort. And then somebody signs it off or doesn't sign it off, and a new feature appears and Zoom carries on with something else. And that's basically how it works.
So what's the most common question you get about using Zoom as Lord Zoom?
I think recently the most common question has been about breakout rooms.
Okay.
I've got no way of evaluating it. I've got no way of measuring it, but I get the feeling that breakout rooms are becoming hip.
Okay.
In certain marketing groups and sales groups. If this is you, it's not your fault, dear marketing people. But do you remember? Oh no, you guys are too young to remember this. We used to have something in the world called death by PowerPoint. Now, you may have heard that your parents suffered this death by PowerPoint.
No, we death by PowerPoint over many, many times, and somehow we still survived.
We survived it.
Well, of course, there is the equivalent now called death by Zoom PowerPoint, which is effectively the same thing. The only advantage of that is if you are suffering from it, you can just turn your camera off and walk away and go and have a cup of tea. And hopefully the person who's doing the PowerPoint slides will be too boring to notice you disappeared, and you'll be fine. But yeah, there is the other version of it. And thankfully, there is a group, and I can see I can't do as much on this as, so maybe you need to look at your settings, but people are now starting to find that they don't want to do that. So the marketing people are being encouraged, and the people doing presentations are being encouraged. And I will encourage you to the nth degree to make life more interactive. Now, obviously, it's difficult to make things interactive when we've got a podcast and you're going to be watching it at a different time. But I can throw in rhetorical questions, and I have, I believe, thrown in a few rhetorical questions during this conversation so that the audience, dear audience, I'm speaking to you, feel that are interacting. And there's a lot of interaction buttons that we can do here to tell us, everybody, that we love the speech, because it's me speaking. So why wouldn't I love it? And the ultimate in interactions is, this is a situation, guys. Let's see if you can come up with some good ideas and just throw your audience into breakout rooms so they can go into little groups and have a chin wag between them, and then all come back together and have the best ideas put in the chat, or maybe you have a spokesperson for each of the rooms to come back and give you feedback. Breakout rooms are becoming really, really interesting places. There's a lot of people that do networking, business networking, and part of the business networking is, of course, a guarantee by the organizer that at some point during the event, you're going to be thrown into breakout rooms so you can network with a smaller group of people and get to know each other.
Well, maybe the the breakout room should be named the antidote to death by Zoom.
Or the way they name everything else, I can quite easily organize that for you. That wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, there we go. Well, Alex and I recently attended, well, I go quite often to this networking group. Alex doesn't like networking, but he came and attended, and it was an online networking. And actually, the part that I enjoy is the breakout rooms, because the way it's structured is that you get to meet someone new. Actually, maybe the reason I enjoy it is because I arrange the breakout rooms. I'm the Zoom master for that networking, which means I get to choose who goes into which group and where I want to go.
She's Lady Breakout.
Really?
But actually, I like those smaller rooms because, well, I'm an introvert. They do say Toastmasters is the biggest group of introverts in the world, right? So for
Definitely.
me, the big room with lots of people is quite intimidating. I'm probably not going to put up my hand and speak, but in the small rooms is where I can connect with people, I can talk to people and build real relationships. So I'm actually a big fan of the breakout rooms. If they're done well, I think people have to, like, there's the timer option that you got to think about. Do you give people warning before you just close? I've been in rooms where the room just closed like mid-sentence and all of a sudden it's like wham, you're back in the main room. So there's things to think about with experience,
Alex,
which makes it better.
you called her the queen of breakout rooms. I think her admission means we need to suspend that trophy for a moment.
Okay.
So there are two things that you are not taking advantage of, he said,
Okay.
as a tactical way of saying you're doing wrong.
Oh, good.
There are two things which you could improve upon.
Mm.
The first one is that when you go and set up the breakout room timers, the breakout room, there are timers in the options button, which is in the bottom left of when you're building the breakout room.
Correct.
And you can set a timer so the room will close after a certain amount of time. And I would suggest you set it for about the minute mark. That's long enough for somebody who is taking notice and sees that they've only got a minute left to finish their content, but it's not too long that the people that have already seen that the meetings are going to close and have left the breakout room are not going to be sitting around for 10 minutes waiting for everybody else to join. So that's the figure that I take. The second thing, if you want to really get your crown back from Alex, is you need to be a little bit less controlling in your breakout rooms.
Ooh.
So this is my challenge to you to give away some control. You can ask a poll question and you can use the answer for that poll question to build your breakout rooms. So if you have a group of people who are diverse and will have different interests, and you've got an idea of what those interests are, you could maybe ask a breakout room question so that they can self-select what breakout room they're going to be in, depending on the answer they gave to the question. And it's easier for people to answer questions on polls than it is for them to understand how the breakout room system works. Because if you give them the breakout rooms, most of the time it doesn't work. In fact, I had to do a video for a Toastmasters meeting, which was only, 30, 40 seconds long, but it explained which button they needed to press to go into the breakout rooms. And I had to play it on loop. And I think it took four or five loops before everybody disappeared and went to the breakout rooms. So breakout rooms are tricky.
Yeah, you always get someone going, I didn't get the request. Where must I go?
So if you
But
ask it as a poll question,
give
you
me
can then
give me
use
an
that.
example of this poll question, because that sounds interesting, but I'm not getting
Okay,
it.
so how do you want to sort your group of people? Maybe you've got an international group of people. You'd like to sort them by region. So you
Okay.
might ask, where are you calling from? And then you may just set regional parameters so people can then meet local marketers, local businesses or whatever that are local to them. Maybe you've got a question about, there's been a presentation, there's been various subjects mentioned, who would like to discuss opening speeches, who would like to discuss car sharing, who would like to discuss whatever, and you can get them there. Or even if you have no answer, then the no answer is choose something generic. Do you prefer to read books? Do you prefer to write books? Do you prefer to watch telly? And just put them into breakout rooms where they've all got a common interest. And then the introverts there, of course, will feel a little bit less intimidated, shall we say, because they've joined a group where they perceive that everybody's got the same interests as them. So you've got something to start the conversation with.
Oh, I like that a lot. I'm definitely going to try that at the next networking. Because even something like, is it tea, coffee, or hot chocolate, right? That really it doesn't have to be serious. It can be serious, but it can also be a bit fun.
Yeah. I've got a group of networkers that I belong to. I'll name drop them if I may. The Rebellious Business Network. You can find them. Two young ladies. When I say young ladies, I'm 60. Everybody is a young lady if they're female in my world. But these two young ladies are running this networking event, and they've got almost as weird a sense of humor as me, because they go on the internet, these Temu sites and stuff like that, and they find these ridiculously stupid products that are being sold. And then they give us 4 or 5 as a list of products, and they throw us into breakout rooms. And what we have to do in the breakout rooms is work out a marketing message for each.
Oh.
And then when we come back, they have to guess which of the products the marketing message refers to, which is really cool, because it then means we try the most obscure lines as possible to try and catch them out, rather than just making it really obvious of the product that we're trying to promote a message for. And they always threaten that they're going to sell the products on Amazon thanks to our clever marketing lines, but I've never seen them do it. Or if they have, I've never caught them doing it. But yeah, you can throw them into people into breakout rooms, and then you can give them ideas. And then you can bring them back, discuss something else with them, and then throw the same group of people back into the same breakout rooms, because they've broken the ice in the first thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe the next task you throw into breakout rooms for is a more business orientated, a more studious thing for them to have a look at. And now they've had the icebreaker in the first time they had the breakout rooms. The second time the breakout rooms, they're going to be really working together and coming out with good stuff. So I love breakout rooms, and that's why I think they are really catching on.
Very cool. Wow, that's really awesome. I think I've got like 6 or 7 things I can't wait to go and play around with now on Zoom. And actually, I use Zoom all the time. Thank you so much, John. That's been awesome. Alex, anything else you want to know from Lord Zoom before we let him go back to his Zoom world?
Is that a grand piano behind you?
It is a baby grand piano.
Baby grand piano.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because this place isn't big enough for a full grand, but it is it's an electronic piano.
Oh, awesome. That wasn't my question about Zoom, obviously.
No, I didn't think it was. But it's very geeky though, because and it's the second one I had. This is my second one, but it's very geeky because the keys have hammers on them, like in real life instrument would have.
Very nice.
And so it detects how hard the hammer hits for how it will make the string noise from the piano.
Okay, so it has a very accurate sensitivity. That's brilliant.
Yeah, because when they first came out, they used to work on velocity. So if you pressed it fast, it was hard, and if you pressed it slow, it was soft, and that that was okay. But then, of course, you realize that when you start playing the piano for a long time, that doesn't actually make sense in real life when you hit a real piano key. So the technology they have now for the top of the range, well, I say top of the range, well, the pro level ones is this effect, so that it's actually feeling how hard the hammer will be hit, and then it's calculating from that what it's going to make the piano sound like. Yeah.
But my question about Zoom though is about backgrounds. So are there, well, okay, let me ask you maybe 2 questions. One is, what is your opinion on Zoom backgrounds, or backgrounds being used virtual backgrounds being used in Zoom? And my second question is, regardless of what your opinion is on virtual backgrounds, are there any specific combinations of colors or graphics or anything that work better for a background? Because sometimes you have certain backgrounds that seem to somehow interfere more, or they don't look quite as good depending on the colors, or if there's objects here or there. So I just wanted your advice on, if you have any advice to anyone who wants to use a virtual background, and also just to get your personal opinion on virtual backgrounds.
Oh, you're going to have to think of a question after this, because we don't want to end up on a downer. Virtual backgrounds?
It's not a down. No, there's no such thing as a down if there's value in what you're saying, and for people who always use virtual backgrounds and you give them reasons why they shouldn't use it versus or give them another option, then it's not a downer. It's a value-based answer.
If you're boring and you sit there and you don't move, you could probably get away with a background. But please, try not to use backgrounds. And if you are going to use backgrounds, start with a blank page. And what I mean by that is put something behind you that is blank. A curtain, a sheet. If you're going to put a virtual background, no one's going to see it anyhow, so don't worry about it. But put a blank background, because the biggest problem people have is they have a bookcase behind them. How the hell is poor little Zoom, probably running on a low spec computer, because most of our laptops are low spec compared to what's available? How is it going to make sense of that? And if you start using your hands and moving your hands and arms around, your fingers are going to disappear, because there's no way your poor computer is going to be able to process a complicated background and make sure that you don't disappear, but it does. So my short answer is don't use virtual backgrounds. But if you do have to use them, or you're in a corporate setting and you want to use them, make your background, physical background, really simple and obvious for your computer, so it doesn't use up all its clock cycles and CPU just trying to make sense of the background and not able to do anything else, because it is a complicated AI thing to do. It's fine if you're just sitting there like this, but we all know that you'll say, oh, you've got a new phone, John. What have you? I haven't got a phone. I've got a new remote. Can I show you my remote? And when I show you my remote, what happens? The remote disappears because it thinks it's the background. If I wave, my microphone would probably be okay at the moment because it's in front of me. But if I probably moved it to there, it would disappear because the AI just doesn't know what you're doing. So that is why I don't like virtual backgrounds. They are fun. They are useful, but they are not good. If you're going to use them, the rule is stand out. Now, I am pulling all the tricks in the book. You don't have to pull all these. I'm pulling all the tricks in the book. So I have a big light in front of me. Now, I have a big light because it's not a point light. So it's not a small bulb. Think of the sunshine. If you're outside and the sun is shining and there's no clouds in the sky, you get clear shadows, don't you? Because the sun is beaming its light straight to you and you get clear shadows. If it's an overcast day, the clouds are in the way of the sun and it disperses the light and you get a overall lighting effect rather than a point light. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason you don't want a point light is, well, ladies, you'll be able to tell us about this because you use beauty light, ring lights, don't you, to get rid of all the crinkles and all the crevices that you're concerned about and take away all the shadows on your face. It's exactly what we want to do on Zoom. We want the light to be not harsh because it will make all the shadows really distinct and bad. So you want a big light. You can sit in front of a window. The only problem, of course, is if the sun goes in or out, then you get light and dark, but that's another story. So the first thing is you want a nice big light in front of you. And that is why and the light is quite close to me. It's only, it's just over a meter away.
Okay.
So its effect is good on me. And you can notice that it's not having much effect on my background.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I've got a light, so I'm well lit, and my background is darker, as in it's not well lit. But it's also quite contrasty. Although I'm wearing same colors, you can see there's quite a contrast between me and the background. So if I were to turn on the background, the computer's got a reasonable chance of seeing me against the background.
Okay.
But the other thing I've got is, can you see I've got a glowy bit on the top of my head? I have a light above me and behind me. And that is lighting that part of me. And that, again, makes me pop off the background because I've not got a shadow near the back of my head. I've got a light there, and that allows me to pop visually off. I'm just checking what it is on there so I can point in the right places. That allows me to pop off the background. And again, that makes it easier for it to light me. It makes it easier to see me, and it will make it easier for Zoom to deal with me if I was a virtual background. But that light fitting, which is just there, that would probably be a bit of a downer and a bit confusing for it. That could be, if I put my hand there and there, that may be a problem when I got a virtual background. But I have a staged background. I've got some little pottery houses made by my mum, which I like to have. I've got a nice piece of redwood furniture behind me, which gives me a nice background. I've chosen this blue color on purpose. I've got it's the middle of the day when we're recording, but I've still got a light bulb on to give a background. So I've staged my background. And yes, Alex, I've also accidentally on purpose put my piano into the background as well, because it looks interesting. And the nice thing about piano is it's got nice long lines. So it draws the eye in as well. So that's also useful. Do you get the feeling I don't like virtual backgrounds?
No, and it's a nice, I think virtual backgrounds can look very tacky. I also personally do not like them. And I thought there was some very good advice there around the use of lighting. It's very important to have the subject well lit. And yeah.
So if I take the screen again, and I've got my virtual background, and you can see I'm moving my hands around. Now this is a Mac. This is a base Mac Mini. So this is not it's a reasonably good computer, but it's not a powerful computer. But because I've got a good contrasting light and situation here, you see I'm moving my fingers around and it's not doing it. Alex, if you want to speak and move your hands around, I think they get lost a bit.
Yes, here, this one here, when I go to this part here. Yeah.
Yeah. And what have you got behind you just at that point? A light.
That's just a light, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the computer's having difficulty trying to make sense of it all, you see?
Yeah. My other question about your screen is, are there any, for businesses, are there any ways, is there any way of branding your screen? So for example, if I had...
Sure. How much money you got?
Well, if I'm an average Zoom user. Oh, hello.
So for our audio listeners, Lord Zoom has just put on his screen some beautiful branding all around his image. And it says, I did this design in Canva.
Brilliant.
And then uploaded it to Zoom. No extra software needed. Oh.
So I guess you just need to create, you can have your logo with the background as transparent. Is that correct?
There is a feature in Zoom called video filters. You've all got them. In fact, we were talking about them earlier about putting hats on and things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just put the smiley faces around me, which is a built-in video filter. If you go into something like Canva and you create a PNG, which is the graphic where you can have it, as Alex said, a transparent background, and your goggles do look nice. Those glasses look great, Alex. You can create a image, and you want to do it as 1080p, 1920 by 1080 size, best. And you create that in something like Canva. Other arty programs are available. Use what you want, but create a PNG with a transparent background. And then you can go into the zoom.us website and you can upload a video filter or multiple video filters. I don't know how many you can have. When they first introduced it, you can only have 3. I think I've got about 9 running on mine at the moment.
Brilliant.
But you can upload those and then you can use them. Now, the catch is, and this is where corporates will sulk and everybody else will be happy. The catch is that they are account-wide video filters. So it's not personal. Now, if you're in an organization, there's only 3 of you using Zoom, then obviously there's enough room for you to all have your own versions. But the video filters are account-wide. So you can't each have your individual graphics, unless, of course, there's only 3 or 4 of you on the account, in which case you can just each upload your own versions and then use them as you need them. But that's the lowest level. There are lots of other, and we could probably have a whole podcast on this, and you can follow my YouTube stuff to see all the other ways that are available to do it. But that is the simplest way to get a quick fix, and that's what I tell people, because most small business owners just want a lower third, don't they? I mean, that's That's over the top on purpose, just to show you how mad you can go, because I've got a thing at the top, I've got a thing at the bottom, and I've got a thing at the side.
Yeah.
Don't really need that much information, but this just to show people that it's possible. And that's the easiest way, the quickest way of doing it, the least effort. There are lots more complicated ways, sophisticated ways of doing things. But that's where I always say people should start.
Love it.
Brilliant.
John, where can people get hold of you if they want to learn more about all these intricacies of Zoom or follow you?
Well, as long as they let me, and I'm let be so far, you can find me on lordzoom.com. You can find me on YouTube, Boom with Lord Zoom.
Ooh.
And would you believe it? I've even managed to nab LinkedIn as John Drinkwater Lord Zoom.
Fantastic.
But lordzoom.com is Zoom of, it's not annoyed Zoom yet. They're still okay that I am not pretending to be Zoom Inc. And I'm not. I'm an independent voice of them, but you'll find me there. And if you really get into trouble, I'm actually one of the people on the Zoom community forum. So if you don't have a paid account at a level where you get your own Zoom team looking after you, you can always ask your questions on the Zoom community forum. I'm one of the people that answers questions on there. And I'm a Zoom developer.
Ooh.
And I create apps. And I help people create apps. And I'm a community champion on the Zoom developers forum as well. And that is why
Fantastic.
I say what you give, you get back in abundance.
Love
Yeah.
it, love it, love it. I am going to kick you off now, John, because I'm dying to go and play with all these buttons on Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so awesome having you on board.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
thanks
John.
for the great
It's been
questions.
brilliant.
Thank you, Alex.
I'm expecting you also to go and learn some awesome stuff on Zoom now.
We're going to be we'll have our own branded marketing detective agency images very soon.
Oh, fantastic. Can't wait. Thanks so much. It's been fun. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to Giraffes Don't Eat Steak, where curious marketers zig when others zag. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with someone who loves great marketing conversations. And don't forget to follow, review, or drop us a note. We love hearing from fellow curious minds. And if your own marketing's feeling a bit tangled, check out our Marketing Power Hour. It's a focused one-to-one session designed to help you get clarity and momentum. Just go to themarketingdetectives.com and book your slot. Until next time, keep zigging.